Hello everyone. Another concept in this Vital Village and Thriving Towns chapter is who lived in villages. So the lesson name is who Vital Villages and Thriving Towns. Okay. So vital villages, important villages. Who lived in those villages, and people were given some names. What were those names? To whom these names were given, that you are going to learn in this video. Okay, this is India map. Okay, in this map, north, this is south part and this is north part. In south part of India, particularly in Tamil Nadu region, large landowners were called Vellalar. In villages, large landowners were called Vellalar. An ordinary plowman was called Uzvar. Who was called plowman? Who use plow, who works with plow is called plowman. So here you can see this picture. In this picture, that person is what he is doing. He is plowing the land. It means he is turning the soil by using plow. So he is called plowman. In Tamil Nadu region, ordinary plowman was called Uzvar. And in villages, landless people, including slaves, landless labor, including slaves, were called Kadaisiyar Adimai. Kadaisiyar Adimai. Okay. In North India, in villages, village headman was called Grama Bojaka. Village headman was called Grama Bojaka. So he was very powerful person in that village. Okay, he was very powerful person. So what he did? Wait a minute. He was very powerful person, and he was the largest landowner. He was a largest landowner. So to work in that land, he need more labor. So he maintained slaves and hired workers. What is the difference between slaves and hired workers? Slaves generally they work for their masters. They could not expect something from. They could not expect money from masters, because whether if they like, they would give money to the slaves. Otherwise, they would not give to them. So hired workers were different from slaves. Hired workers, they work for money. They get money from their owners. Okay, this is the difference between slaves and hired workers. Okay, village headman was called Grama Bojaka in north part of villages. In village head was called Grama Bojaka, and he was the largest landowner. And that post, village headman post, was hereditary post. It means generation to generation they held that post. Okay, and he used to collect taxes from the villagers, and he functioned as judge and policeman. So whenever conflicts arise in that village, he used to resolve those disputes. Okay, he acts as a judge and policeman in that village. Okay, all these are the functions of Grama Bojaka. Who was Grama Bojaka? Grama Bojaka was a village headman in north part of villages. So each village had one head. Each village had one headman. Okay, so he was called Grama Bojaka, and he had some functions. Okay, then apart from this these Gramabhojakas, independent farmers also were there. These independent farmers, generally they were small farmers. They were called grihapatis, and landless people in north part of villages were called Dasakarmakara. Okay, so in villages, different people they lived. They had different names. Okay, and apart from these category of people, craft persons also lived in villages. Example: blacksmith, potter, carpenter, weaver. Okay, so blacksmith who works with iron was called blacksmith, and potter who makes pots, and carpenter who makes furniture, and weaver who weave the cloth. All these were the craft persons. These category of people also lived in villages. Okay, so what did you learn from this concept? Who lived in villages in the ancient period, in north part of villages and south part of villages, and what names were given to those people in villages, and who was called Gramabhoshika and who was called Vellalar. All these you have learned. Okay, now if do you want to test yourself? Okay, I am providing you 2 exercises. Do it to test yourself. Okay, what are those exercises? See, matching. You have to match A to B. And next exercise, take the correct option from the following regarding the functions of Gramabhojika. So Gramabhojika functions I explained to you. So from these options, which options are correct options? You have to choose correct options. Okay, tick the correct options. For example, if it is a right, tick the, if it is a right, give tick mark. Okay, like that, and this also right, and this is also right, like that. You have to tick the correct options. Okay, if you have clarity on the functions of Gramabhojika, you could be able to do this. Okay, before doing this, if you want to do this without any mistake, then you have to watch video again. Okay, so after getting clarity, do these 2 exercises.